look who's back and officially 38. Welcome to the Dani podcast, the birthday edition. I have disappeared for a hot minute, but don't worry, I actually wasn't ghosting you. Unless you count the actual ghost adventure I just went on. More on that soon. But no, I've got birthday reflections, a few laughs, and possibly a mid-identity crisis. You know, the classic 30s content. Grab a drink, light a candle, or just hide from your responsibilities and let's get into it. So, we were halfway through last episode, halfway through the season. It was great. I'm not even remotely worried that we haven't covered everything this season, because let me tell you, we have. But no, I had a really great birthday. I am officially 38 as of yesterday. It was a really slow day, but that was fine because it was off the bat of a very fun-filled weekend. And look, it's weird. Now I'm like, do I say over the hill and almost 40 or what? But having no real party, instead actually escaping for the weekend, was just exactly what the doctor ordered. I'm not sorry about it. I know that the 37th birthday, I was in another country, didn't really even celebrate that with friends either. However, as you get older, I feel like there's little parts of your life that just don't seem too important anymore. And I'm a really great example of celebrating a birthday. I will always throw a party. And recently, I'm just like, nah, my patience for it is zero. So whether it's coming from like an old age perspective or actually just, I don't know, it comes around so fast. I actually could not tell you guys. But I'm very thankful to have you guys as an audience. I woke up to a whole bunch of messages yesterday on Spotify and fan mail. So again, thank you. Do I feel any different? No. But the weird thing is I've kind of woken up with like a bit of clarity. I feel like this year's been really strange, but there's been a couple of home truths recently and I'm going to fill you in. But I'm really enjoying this. We are only 24 hours into being 38 and I'm actually sitting here with a smile on my face. So let's get into it. I don't know if I really mentioned too much on the topic. However, I did have a ghost adventure. On Friday, I was picked up 3 hours early, I might add, by a couple of friends. And we went down to a little tiny hotel in the remote wee township of St. Bathans called the Vulcan Hotel, which seemingly was haunted. Now, look, I'm one of those people that doesn't really deep dive on a lot of things, especially because this place was an hour from my house. I don't give a shit. If things go wonky, I can always go home. But I really should have looked into this. I was under the impression that it was a remote area that had a really cute wee hotel. However, the actual history behind it and the time when it was established and everything, wow. Just wow. I have come back with a whole new perspective on things, and I don't know. Say what you will, but it was really an interesting weekend. We'd pull up at this little hotel, and I'm thinking, what have I got myself into? Let me paint a picture, right? So this hotel and little post office is circa the 1800s, early 1900s. You've got things that have been left as is, from back in the settlement days where there was a really big influx of gold miners. And I was just standing there thinking, there is a second floor to this post office and these stairs are a century old. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure that if more than one of us stood on that stairwell, we were going to fall through. Anyway, that was just the post office. We actually couldn't check into the hotel until 3 o'clock. So we were doing a bit of exploring. Mind-blowing. There was so much history on the walls and so much conversion. I mean, I didn't know what a shilling in currency was worth. So to find out that the people that worked in that area back in the late 1800s would work Monday to Saturday, full-time, 6 days a week, and then get unlimited alcohol on the Sunday at the Vulcan Hotel was really eye-opening. I don't know about you guys, but if I worked a 6-day week and then got free drinks on a Sunday, I'm pretty sure it would take me till Wednesday to get over that. And I'm not sure that that was something they did back in those days. So take with you what you want about that. So it came to 3 o'clock and we got to check in, which was great. They gave us a bit of a tour of the hotel. They told us that we were the only tenants in the hotel that night. We were in rooms 2 and 3. One was a queen bedroom and one was a bunk bedroom. I settled in for the bunk bedroom just because it had so much character. There was this little hand basin in the corner, a little duchess, the heater was on. I don't know, it felt homely. Big mistake. Huge. Room 1 is actually notorious for being haunted. They have a ghost there called Rose, and she was a prostitute who was killed, and her spirit haunts that room. So if you stay in room number 1, you get a little magnet that says, "I survived room 1," with a wee picture of Rose. Cute. So anyway, that night we decided to, I don't know, celebrate, and we had a lot to drink. There was a beer garden across from the hotel, so we were able to drink our own alcohol in the beer garden and then come back to the hotel bar restaurant to sit by the fire, sit in their little living area, which was great for the people that were staying at the hotel. That was us. And I feel like they were waiting on us hand and foot, which was really cute. So the only thing we actually consumed that night was calamari, so deep fried squid and fries. So I don't know about you guys, but yeah, I was waiting for dinner, let's be honest. I'm getting old now. I can't do these things off just deep fried food. So I don't know how it happened, but about 8:30, it was very dark outside, and one of the bartenders told us that there was a cemetery nearby and that we should go and explore it. So off we toddled down the road, first left, up through 2 paddocks across a cattle station kind of entrance with a fence. We were at the cemetery. I don't know, I had a glass of wine in my hand. I was climbing over stupid cattle fences and everything else. I look back at it now and I'm like, really, Dani? But yeah, it was disgustingly eerie, and I can't believe we did it. We did go back Saturday afternoon just to investigate further because we couldn't really see what was written on the gravestones. It was hard to dissect because of all the moss and everything. I mean, these were headstones from the 1800s. So anyway, upon coming back to the hotel, we realised that they've actually closed for the night. And basically, once we were in the hotel, they locked us in. So we weren't going to be exiting anytime soon. Kind of gave me chills. It still gives me chills now. So I was sitting on the end of my friend's bed, which they had this big long settee thing, and we were eating noodles and stupid stuff that we packed for a cheese board. And I don't know, I just sort of got the guts up to have a shower, and I said to them, "Oh, I'm going to go have a shower." And they said, "Oh, yeah, we'll go as well," because it's pretty scary if you get left alone in one of these rooms. So obviously if one went, we all went. And it was separate showering conditions. It wasn't just one room. I mean, we're pretty close, but not like that. Anyway, we get back to our rooms, and we were actually quite scared. So we couldn't work out the door lock system, so we actually slept with the doors open. It kind of felt like home, it kind of didn't. However, just as I was nodding off, someone parked up the side of the hotel, came to the front door, unlocked it, came running up the hallway. My friend thought it was me, so he yelled out, "Dani, don't, you're scaring me." It wasn't me, I was in my room. And then they left again. They locked us back in and they left again. So unusual, yes. Did we ask questions? No. And I don't know, I was trying not to get too drunk because obviously I wanted to feel everything and make sure that I wasn't overreacting. And if it actually was a spirit in the room, then I was open to that. So I was very awake. But the weird thing was that I fell asleep from about 10 to 1. Both nights, 10 p.m. till 1 a.m. So I don't know if something woke me up both nights, but once I was awake, there was absolutely no chance of getting back to sleep. So I did have some ghost reading equipment, which was just purchased off a couple of websites, one of which was an EMF reader, and that reads the frequency of, I don't know, it goes from green to red. This hotel sat in the red the whole time. Every time I turned the damn thing on, it was in red. However, if I went outside, it would go green. I don't know. It scared the crap out of me. Anyway, we tried to push on and get through the night. We didn't want to move because the floorboards creaked, so you knew when each other were up and walking around. So we were trying to just stay still and make sure that if anything was going to approach us, that was okay. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about this. My gosh. Anyway, I had someone sit on my mattress. The mattress dipped and I had someone touch my hair. And then twice someone tried to talk to me, one of which I remember them whispering, well, not even whispering, but actually said the word terrific in my ear. And you know when you're kind of just like nodding off and then you jump because you feel like you're falling or whatever? It was kind of like that, but it was so loud. I felt like it was loud, however, no one else heard it, so I don't know. Anyway, it comes to about 8:30 in the morning. We're all waking up. We're all talking about what had happened in the night. And my friend said to me, oh, I had a wee girl at the end of my bed that recited a poem. It lasted about 15 seconds, but she was standing right there. She was just reciting a poem. And for the rest of the day, we started talking to the bar staff and the hotel staff just about potential matches as to who that wee girl was, because it was kind of sweet. I mean, she was safe enough to tell us a wee poem. So we wanted to hear from her again. On the actual Saturday, we got up relatively early, about 8:30, which is weird when you're actually out of town and you're on a bit of a holiday. However, we wanted to get out of the hotel and keep exploring. So we went down to the Blue Lake, which is what the St. Bathans area is quite famous for. Did a bit of a walk, got the steps up, then decided to drive all the way down to Ranfurly and pub crawl our way back, which was great. So we went to Ranfurly, a random bar that started with W, can't pronounce it, won't try, and then the Wedderburn, which is great. Now look, if I could take anything away from this wee adventure was that when I did this trip a couple of years ago, maybe in 2022, for Waitangi weekend, which is a holiday here in New Zealand, I would genuinely tell you guys that the refurbishments of the bars and or the staff that were behind the counter, they didn't fit the area. And I know that's really like broad of me to say. However, I don't know what it is, but I kind of had this whole mentality that it was kind of like an older style history pub. Now, some of these pubs have had refurbishments done, so they're a little bit more sterile, a lot more white. I don't know, it just didn't suit where we were in New Zealand. But the bar staff, zero tolerance. I mean, they didn't want a bar of like talking about the history. They didn't want to talk about anything. I was even discussing the fact that a bar further down the line past Ranfurly, which I had been to 2 years ago, had now changed into an op shop. The woman behind the counter at the Ranfurly Hotel, she didn't want to talk to me about anything. I mean, she was stubborn and cold. So, I don't know. I just kind of thought maybe if you were in these weird towns and you were stopping by for a pint and a pie, you were going to have a bit of a chat, bit of a, understanding of the area. But it was just like everyone was very sterile and cold and no one was approachable and the bars were just a little bit, not what I came for, let's be honest. So we eventually got back to the Vulcan Hotel, which we were excited to be there. I'm not going to lie. They made us feel like we were at home. It was a really sweet environment. However, we had a tenant that night, so it wasn't just us. I felt like we had to be on our best behaviour, which was really annoying. But yeah, he wasn't very approachable. We tried talking to him 3 times and he just wasn't having it. I feel like he was someone that has already stayed there multiple times and just would not want to be friends or, I don't know, discuss his past adventures through the area. I don't even know. But as the night came on, we had this beautiful dinner, and for someone that thinks that this place is in a very remote part of New Zealand, it probably isn't, but to me it felt like it. The food was off the chain. Absolutely delicious. I'm so mad that we didn't have dinner on the Friday night because the steak on the Saturday, listen, I've had steak at Javoy Steakhouse in Queenstown, and that's probably well known about steaks. Nah, the steak was 10 times better, and there were people in the restaurant that had travelled from Geraldine, which was 3.5 hours away, just for a dinner reservation at the Vulcan that night. So if that doesn't speak volumes, I don't know what will. Anyway, we pressed on, and obviously we had a couple more drinks back in the room. They had an overflow of people that night for the restaurant, so we couldn't use our living area. That got changed into a restaurant, which is fine. We thought we'd play a little prank though, so my friend dropped down to his bare ass, basically, and held on to his junk and came up to the door and said that he was lost looking for the shower, and there was a woman having dinner and she dived up to the table and she pushed the door shut. I could not stop laughing. I mean, this was some like serious seal clapping, no noise coming out of my mouth. It was just the funniest thing. I mean, he is a character at the best of times, but this was ridiculous. Anyway, all in all, the Saturday night was really great. So again, we were back in bed quite early. It was about 9:30, 10 o'clock. And we left the hallway light on this night, but we kind of tried to shut our doors and lock them just for the safety of like there was extra people in the restaurant. Bad idea. Oh my word. Basically, I was up again at 1 o'clock and I was shaking, you guys. Like I couldn't hold my phone. I was standing between the bedroom and the hallway, trying hard not to look down the hallway because there was multiple mirrors, terrified out of my wits that I was going to see something more visually than actually someone sitting on my bed or touching my hair and tapping on the wall. The things in that room that night were moving and I wanted to cry. It was the one night where we actually locked the truck outside because I was trying to get into my friend's room to grab the keys to run to that vehicle to sleep. I stayed up from 1 till 5 and I was spiraling. Like I could not sleep. I could not do anything. My phone was glitching. There was like huge technical problems. The light was flickering. Nightmare. Absolute bloody nightmare. My friends got up finally between 3:30 and 4 a.m. and they kind of stopped me from like freaking the fuck out, let's be honest. But they went to the bathroom and they left me by myself and I didn't go to the bathroom and I really should have because I felt like that whole weekend I was too scared to go to the toilet that when I came home on the Sunday, it was like I just popped and my body just came back to like safety. Sorry, and I was just deciding just to pee like every hour because my whole body was frozen and I don't know. I finally fell asleep at 5:30 and got woken up at about 6:30 by the person that was staying in the hotel that we didn't know very well. So I decided I was going to get up and go to the toilet. This whole weekend, I did not shut my door once. I went to the toilet and came back and the door was locked. My actual bedroom door. So I had to sit in the hallway by myself because no one was going to wake up and just hope to dear God that I didn't see anything. I had no phone. I had no jumper. I had my pajama bottoms and a singlet. I mean, that alone, I've been telling people about and I've had chills. They're like, Dani, are you joking? And I was like, no, I can't make this shit up, you know? So when my friends finally got up at 8:30, I was like, I've been sitting out here for like 2.5 hours by myself, just shut my eyes, hope for the best, not going to see anything, but oh my gosh, never again. I've done it now, but never again. We piled into the vehicle at 10 a.m. and we got home. I wanted to sleep, but I just couldn't. My body was just broken, like physically exhausted. I had not slept more than 3 hours a night. So I dropped a sleeping tablet and slept really well when I was back in my bed in Cromwell. But yeah, I woke up Monday. Obviously yesterday it was my birthday and everyone was sending messages and everything. My tolerance for everything was zero. Mum's trying to give me birthday presents and stuff. And I was super thankful, don't get me wrong, but I was just like, oh, I can't. my brain is just not coping. But today is a lot better, obviously. I'm getting over that whole putting myself through that. But I wouldn't change anything. I mean, quite frankly, I couldn't. I think maybe what it was that I got picked up 3 hours early for this adventure, that I actually wasn't ready. I'm not sure if it was a mental thing. Can you really be mentally ready for a haunted hotel? Or was it just because I actually knew nothing? I knew nothing. And just those little things that were happening, I couldn't function. I was shaking. I couldn't cope. It was the weirdest thing. So now I'm on the other side of, I'm actually 38 now and I've woken up this morning. It's been a really great clarity kind of a couple of hours I don't know, walking around this morning just being like, right, what are we going to do? How are we going to get this whole like thing back on the track? Because I know I've said that, like, I obviously really love routine and everything. I mean, it's wonderful to feel like you're accomplishing things, and so many times I'm like, why is this difficult? But a friend actually said about a week ago, Dani, are you still taking ashwagandha? And I was like, yes and no. I just know that it like, what do they say? It regulates your nervous system. And I feel like over the past 6 weeks, I've just been go, go, go. There's been people visiting. I've just had all this sorts of stuff on. I haven't been sleeping very well. So I have kind of been taking ashwagandha, and they looked at me and they're like, pass us the bottle. And I was like, okay, chuck this bottle at them. And oh, you guys, I stuffed up. You know how I've been saying that I've had like massive, like cloudy, foggy mind, and I've been blaming it on that bloke and everything else. No. It's the ashwagandha that I changed to. It's the super strong strength stuff that switches your brain off. And it's not that I'm taking it all the time. It's just that the strength of it flows on to the next day, and all of a sudden, like, it's just compounding. So I have been off it for about 5 days. Oh, huge change. Humongous change. So I had a whoopsie, but I'll be honest about it. Let's rip the bandage off and tell you that I'm stuffed up. But yeah, look, now I'm just sitting here and I've got a few things on the go that I'm quite excited about. I'm planning things a lot better. I'm not sort of being lazy and like I can't cope with anything. It's just that alone is not me. I'm normally so strong and I can just sort of manage things. So for me not to, there was something wrong. And it wasn't until my friend picked up on that from listening to the podcast. I was like, Dani. So yeah, look, maybe it was me not having ashwagandha to calm down when I was in the hotel, because I haven't. I just really struggled with that. So I don't know. Anyway, what am I doing? I wanted to let you guys know the Couch to 5K. I had a couple of messages about that. Where am I at with it? It was actually week 9 out of 13, so early April that I completed it. I did the 5K in 40 minutes flat, so I was happy with that. At the end of the day, like, that's something I've never done before. I was very consistent with it, and weirdly enough, I actually took away a weird injury. So I went to the doctor yesterday. I know, it's never ideal to go to the doctor on your birthday, but I was trying to get everything health-wise in order before I turned 38, just because I just wanted a clean bill of health. So I had this niggling injury from finishing the Couch to 5K, which turns out I actually was born with a deformity while I was, I don't know, swimming around in my mum's tummy. But I thought it was to do with the Couch to 5K. So as I was teaching myself to run, I grew these glutes, right? And I'd say about 2.5 months ago, I realized that when I was in the shower and I was bending over to pick up products off the shower floor or shave my legs, let's be honest, we all do that, my butt crack, the very top of it, was splitting. And I was like, oh my gosh, this comes down to this stupid run that I've been trying to teach myself to do. Showed the doctor yesterday. She was like, not laughing, but she was like, this is just something I've never seen. Like, you don't hear of it that often. And I thought, I've actually backtracked a little bit from working on these parts of my body just because I feel like it's too tight. Weird, I know. Do people actually like grow a butt and then just be like, wow, that's now splitting, so I've got to make it floppy again? I don't know. Anyway, she prescribed some cream and we were just kind of laughing about it because the top of my butt crack is essentially split and it doesn't heal because I go and shave my legs again, pick up something off the shower floor, keep running. When I was thinking that I had to keep the area dry, it actually it's not meant to stay dry. So there was a lot of things. Anyway, I did go to the doctor and I got everything sorted, and I have been to the dentist. So the last time I went to the dentist was about 5 years ago in Australia. So that was a big tick for me, and I feel really good about my health at the moment, which is a big step. I mean, it's one thing to turn a new age, but to actually get things back on the right track, that this is what you deserve and the world's your oyster, and age is just a number. There's nothing negative about having a birthday. If anything, I'm very excited about it. I feel like I'm in a different course of my life than I was this time last year when I finished 75 hard and I was in America. But you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm so ready for this. I am still in the process of booking Asia. Just randomly before we went to the Vulcan Hotel, we had to go to a wee township called Alexandra, just south of Cromwell, and there was a house of travel. And I thought, you know what? I'm actually going to go in there and grab some brochures. And the wee girl behind the counter, super lovely. I said to her, hey, look, thinking about Asia, a little bit lost in the whole thing. Can you help? And she gave me so many ideas. And I said to her, I have asked my friends about some places and they just throw random names at me and I don't know where anything is. So she put down on this map where these like major landmarks are. So baby steps. I'm doing this solo thing, and I obviously have to be really mindful of the fact that if you go somewhere alone, then you have to back yourself that this is how you keep safe. And I think a big bone of contention here is that in Asia, those poor girls that died from the alcohol poisoning, I'm that stupid, you guys. I'd just be like, free shots, you know. So I do get a little bit scared. But no, still in the process. I am making a really good kick in the idea bucket of like what I want to do, which is more than I can say about a month ago. It was just kind of like an idea, and now I'm writing things down and being really productive with it, taking everyone's advice and recommendations on board. I did actually say to the wee girl at House of Travel, I'm too old for Kentucky now. And she was like, Kentucky schmeeky, like, just don't even worry about it, Dani. Go and make your own adventure. And actually my boss's boss just came back from Vietnam, and she was sending me travel agents that she went through because she got some really great deals. And obviously it's a really great thing when people have already utilized something. I think I cocked up a few times in Bali when I obviously thought I was making some good decisions and I wasn't. And that wasn't even for just me. I mean, I was speaking on behalf of multiple people back then. So, yeah. Anyway, what else can I talk about? Well, Poe is 6 months next week. He is a rascal. He has got this little bow tie bell at the moment. So yesterday he finally fit it around his neck. He's been too little for so long. So I think that was the moment I really needed, was him wearing a bow tie on my birthday. It was very cute. Oh, he's just woken up. Great. But yeah, obviously it's just all about what happens next. I'm very excited for this year ahead. We've only got like 12-ish episodes to go until the end of the season. So let's see what happens. Anyway, that's a wrap on my birthday edition of the podcast. 38 is feeling very spicy, slightly unhinged, and surprisingly grounded. Who knew, especially after my bloody ghost adventure. Thanks for hanging out while I recapped the ghostly getaway, dropped some birthday wisdom, and mildly spiraled, but hopefully in a cute way, right? If you vibed on this episode, hit follow, share it with your fellow late 30s legends, and slide into my DMs with your own birthday epiphanies. Here's to the next trip around the sun. Let's make it weird, wonderful, and wildly aligned. See you next time, guys. Bye.